Good evening and welcome to another edition of RFD-TV Live. I'm News Director Mark Oppel. Thanks for joining us and welcome. Tonight we're joined once again by the great folks from Monty's Plant Food Company. And with me, Dennis Stevens. Matter of fact, he's president of Monty's. Joe Dedman, also vice president of agronomy, joining me in studio once again. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Good to be here.
Had a great day so far joining us together, getting back together again.
Yes.
And Gary will be here a little bit later as well. Those of you that have watched our show before, we will be taking your telephone calls a bit later in our program tonight. Tonight, we're going to be taking a very practical approach and talk about some solutions, some of the common challenges that you growers are experiencing in the field. Talk about wheat, we'll talk about corn, talk about soybeans. If you have another crop you'd like to talk about, we'll open up our telephone lines later in the hour, and we can talk about your crop-specific problems or issues, and hopefully our panel, I'm sure, will be able to help you. But before we get to that, Dennis, it's good to see you again, and we talk a lot about, in previous episodes, about Monty's humic technology, and we know we have a lot of new viewers each and every program, matter of fact, but let's just walk through that real quick for our viewers.
Thanks, Mark. I've been president of Monty's for 16 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. And I grew up in Bourbon County, Kentucky, and it was back there where we actually first started our original trials using our fertility products on row crops. And from there, we basically started working with leading scientists in the humic industry, and we're started refining and developing how humics could actually work and perform better with our products. And they're the core of all of our products. Humics are becoming more and more accepted throughout the agricultural industry. Monty's is a leader in that. And, you know, it gives me a lot of joy to be able to look and a lot of pride to see our products being able to maximize yields to help farmers in a lot of different situations. But it's really, it's neat at this time of the industry to be able to see how humics play such a vital role.
Yeah, what is the role, maybe for people, again, maybe a real quick agronomy 101, you're talking about humics, we're talking about the actual organisms in the soil, am I right in that?
No, well, actually, humics is actually one of the products that we actually add to our fertility, or it's a core of our soil conditioner. It's actually a material that's taken out of the soil. And then because of our, and we'll talk about it a little bit tonight, but because of our process, it's very clean and it helps activate the biology of the soil.
That's okay. It puts that biology back in activity that we always used to do. You know, when you plowed the field and the birds came and the worms were, you know, you don't see a lot of that because the soil is way out of condition in most cases.
That's right.
Joe, to you definitely hear a lot more about humics. You've been on the show a couple of times, and I've enjoyed every program learning more about it. We discussed how Monty's humics are different than others on the market. Maybe we can help, you can help us kind of expand on that again, give us a refresher.
Well, even at our very first show this year in January, we tried to introduce farmers to our humic technology. And Monty's has been a leader in the technology of humic, and it is in all of our products. I've been in agriculture now for some 37 years.
Wow, yeah.
And even farmed before that in Shelby County, Kentucky, along with working for Monty since 2005, and I'm also a CCA. So there's a whole lot that you've seen happen in the agriculture industry, and humics are becoming a really buzzword in agriculture today. It's kind of like all of a sudden farmers woke up and go, wow, this is really making a difference in what I'm doing. And it goes back to what Dennis is talking about, that our products, we are the leader in an activated humic technology. And the word is activated that we hone in on, because that is what makes the difference in our products over anybody else's. And humics do a whole lot of things in the soil, but you know, we talked about in one of our other shows about cations and anions in the soil. Humics actually address both of them. So we're not just dealing with positive, you know, just one set, say positive cations. We're dealing with actually both positive and negative. And so our proprietary technology process is what makes it so pure and activated. And we have a very specific ratio of humic to fulvic acids in our product that makes them perform the way they do at a very low rate of application. And I know farmers are still getting their head around small rates of products because they used to do gallons and gallons and gallons per acre. And of course, we introduced our products at pints per acre, and it activates the plants as well as the soil to really make things develop a whole lot different for farmers.
And tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the AgriHance.
We are.
3-step program. Talk about
Right.
that a little bit.
Yeah, we're looking into that. We have the AgriHance 3-step program. That's what we introduced with the S and the V and the R, where we actually used the S as a starter, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but we want that put in the row on the seed, and that's where we're seeing tremendous differences for farmers that's been doing like 2x2s or side-by-sides, and now they've moved it over in the row and to start off the whole process at planting. And it's really made a revolution in agriculture.
Yeah, and growers, we promise to discuss some of the common challenges that you growers are facing and offer some solutions, sort of kind of common problems that we know that you're facing out there. And given the time of the year let's start off by talking a little bit about winter wheat. Joe, I think we start there, and some of the problems that growers are facing out there.
Yeah, we've shared that with you before, how that many farmers will go out and put on liquid nitrogen applications on their wheat. Well, one of the problems that they were dealing with was burn, and we see that in a picture on the screen now from actually Flemingsburg, Kentucky, where this is just straight nitrogen applied to wheat, and we see how it burns the leaves so much. Well, when you do that, you're stressing the wheat plant, and we don't really know, or I don't think anybody has calculated how much yield is that costing farmers for it to recover, then come back, green back up, and grow some more. So that's one of the issues that our liquid carbon has dealt with. We've applied it with liquid nitrogen, and it buffers the salt and keeps it from burning the leaves of that plant like that.
Matter of fact, we're going to have several tonight from producers, Monty's customers. This one produces a producer who discusses the benefits of Monty's liquid carbon that Joe just mentioned, reducing a burn on his wheat. This is Gene Hunter. He's a producer in North Carolina.
We started back in the spring using Monty's carbon in our liquid nitrogen application on wheat. We were putting out between 85 and 90 pounds of nitrogen, of 32% nitrogen, and we added carbon, 1/4 carbon with it. We didn't see any burn to the wheat whatsoever. The wheat crop wasn't stressed by putting nitrogen on it this past year. That had to help. How much yet, we don't know, because we hadn't delivered it. We don't know what the actual bushels per acre are going to be. But I did cut some 90 bushel wheat that had carbon on it with no ryegrass. It was some new land we'd picked up a year or so ago, and then there wasn't any ryegrass on it, and we got a 90 bushel yield out of it. That's the biggest thing that I was trying to get away from, was burning that wheat. Anything you can do to a plant to keep from damaging the growth cycle in it, I think you're way ahead of the game. I don't care what it is, corn, soybeans, cotton, tobacco, anything you can put on that plant to develop growth without stunning or burning or retarding, I think is a plus. And I think the carbon did that.
You see the roots right there. Interesting testimonial. Gene Hunter from Carolina. Is anything to add, Joe?
Well, he honed in exactly on what we're trying to get farmers to see about using the liquid carbon in with liquid nitrogen. It does so many other things, but the main thing that Gene was looking at was reducing the burn on those leaves, and then therefore it didn't stress the plant. It held more yield. As he talked about, he got all the way up in the 90-some bushels. So. Yeah. Again, this is just another component that farmers are using as a management tool.
Looking at some examples here that you brought with you as well.
That's a perfect example of what Gene was talking about. On the right, we've added liquid carbon, and we reduced the burn. In fact, it's hardly any burn, and that was 26 gallons to the acre. On the left, of course, that same amount of liquid nitrogen burnt the wheat. And then I think we have one from North Carolina that just actually did it here in February, that the farmer went out, very young wheat, early wheat, and he put the carbon in with nitrogen on the left side, and then on the right side, of course, he just used straight UAN, and it burnt the wheat. So that's what we're talking about.
Wow, you can really see it there. Now, in addition to reducing burn, Dennis, maybe another challenge as we'll stay on wheat for a little longer here that producers are facing.
Well, you know, Mark, with grain prices where they're at right now, a lot of farmers are looking for cost-effective products to be able to put out and to be able to increase yield.
Exactly.
But at the same time, they're looking at what are ways in which we can add things to our fungicides. Or here's an example where there was the picture of a wheat field. That was ideal. The solution to that would have been our 3-step Agrihance product, nutrient management program, which actually you time it and you put it in at the right stage, whether it's at the vegetative stage or at a later stage. It's all designed at the right timing in order to deliver the nutrients that's needed in order to maximize the yield.
Joe, what about some of the benefits of using the Agrihance program? You talked about it, Dennis is referring to it as well, and as it relates to wheat.
Well, and Dennis hit on that we're about managing that plant. And if we can keep the energy level in that plant strong and it can withstand a lot of the stresses that will come, I mean, even right now, a lot of the wheat fields have undergone a lot of cool temperatures, then it warms up, then it goes back cool again. So it's really confused the wheat plant in a certain degree. But if we can feed that plant with that Agrihance V product, it will hold the energy in it. And of course, then it relates to more head size or kernel size or test weight, which is what makes up, those are the components that make up yield. So this is all about managing that wheat crop to produce the most yield that I can out of it.
The Agrihance V in the vegetative stage.
Growth stage.
Once we get through the vegetative stage, then Dennis, back to you. What's the next step in that Agrihance program?
That's going to be the Agrihance R. You know, driving around the country, we're starting to see some wheat starting to go into the flag stage. That's when you want to go in there. You're wanting to try to increase the kernel head size. There's a number of times you may be making a fungicide pass, and this is the time that you add the Agrihance R to it to maybe try to defend against the head scab. Anyway, the diseases, again, maximizing the yield.
And Joe, then you have some data, I believe, from Colorado and wheat country. They've got some problems out there now. But
this actually proves our whole point, because we added carbon to liquid nitrogen on this particular slide, and we got a 14.5% increase in yield. So what that really did was the carbon actually made the nitrogen way more efficient. We didn't burn the leaves. It took in the nitrogen and utilized it so much better. So that's what we're seeing here on this particular slide of that increase. That's what happened by using just the liquid carbon and nitrogen.
And we're going to have a lot more of that data. That's really kind of, the key, I know, to both of you, Dennis, as the owner, that you want to verify all the things that you're talking about all year long, and your dealers, and on this program as well. We're going to take our first break here coming up on that, and you're going to be leaving us, Dennis, or Gary Coughlin coming in. Dennis, but it was good to see you again. We want to, as always, leave our guests with a chance for some final words, and President and co-owner, you deserve that. So anyway.
Well, thank you, Mark. Again, thank you for allowing us to be on here. One of the things I want to just say is Monty's is always looking at challenges. What can we produce to be able to help maximize the potential of what we're trying to grow? And so that's one of the keys that we always focus on. We like to hear from the growers out in the field to say, this is some of the challenges that I'm being faced with. And we like to go back into our lab, or we go back to the board and we say, how can we address that issue? And that's one of the things that I think we're very proud of as Monty's to be able to provide.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
well,
Mark.
Absolutely. Hope you have a great year. And we're just getting a good start tonight. Talk about wheat. We're going to talk about corn, soybeans as well. But as you know, any product our viewers might have and a question, we want to hear from them.
That's right.
All right, very good. We are going to welcome Gary Coughlin back. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion, some of the problems and solutions for growers out there. And we'll talk more about Monty's AgriHance program. Again, corn, soybeans, other crops as well. You're watching RFD-TV Live right here on Rural America's most important network.
When 4 lanes turn to 2 and the air becomes just a little sweeter, you'll know you're getting closer. We are where the work gets done. If you're a worker, a fixer, a grower, or a doer, then welcome home. Southern States, a place for those who do. Farmer-owned since 1923. With Monty's, you get better soil, better crops, and better yields. Make the most of your harvest. Ask for Monty's products at your Southern States.
You can always expect to see the people and personalities that keep the ranching spirit alive on The American Rancher. This magazine-style series provides ranch owners the opportunity to showcase their operations, while at the same time sharing the experience of ranching with RFD-TV viewers in a real way. So join your host, Pam Minnick, on an informative visit with The American Rancher, right here on RFD-TV, rural America's most important network.
The best shows in Branson, Missouri are now playing at RFD-TV The Theater. The Hay Goods, Branson's most popular show. The Buck Trent Country Music Variety Show. The final season of Roy Rogers Jr. and the High Riders, 70s music celebration starring Barry Williams. And Jerk, the rhythm, tap, and rock and roll experience. Visit RFD-TVThetheater.com for more information.
Take control with AgriHance. Manage your crop success with Monty's AgriHance 3-step program, designed to assist plant development at 3 key stages of growth. AgriHance S helps seedlings emerge quickly and develop a robust root system. AgriHance V manages growth and performance during the vegetative growth stage and at bloom. AgriHance R can increase quantity and improve the quality of your grains, fruits, and vegetables. Maximize your yields with AgriHance. Call, click, or talk with your dealer today.
Welcome back to RFD TV Live. I'm Mark Oppold. We welcome Gary Coughlin back here. Gary from Monty's Plant Food as well, a certified crop advisor, joining us. He's been on the program before, and good to have you back. Good to see you today.
Thank you, Mark. Glad to be back.
Trying to get some warmer weather in your territory as well.
Yes, sir.
Get some field work done. We talked about the challenges of wheat, winter wheat, and burn issues and others. We want to move over. We're going to talk about corn and soybeans as well as other crops on the minds of our viewers. But corn right now for you, I have a question on that. Some of the challenges and some of the solutions that Monty's had for our corn producers. What's going on in their minds and some of their issues they have?
Mark, right now, it's all about, I think, environmental issues out there. I mean, like last week, we had snow in part of the country. We've got some of the land along the Mississippi River that's flooded.
Boy, do we, yeah.
We've got cool soil temperatures, and at least in Kentucky, we can't seem to get so much done for the rain. Just about the time we're ready to go, here comes another rain shower.
Right, and if anything is in the ground, as you say, cool soil temperatures, it's going to sit there for a while,
right.
Not germinate either.
Right. And here we are, the 1st of May, basically, and I'm not so sure that within the next, 10 days, 2 weeks, some farmers are going to be making a decision maybe to go to soybeans if this weather doesn't clear up. But let's assume that it does.
That's good. I like that.
Let's assume that it does. So the rain quits, it warms up, our soils warm up. Farmers need to be doing everything they can to manage that, and AgriHance S can help getting that out of the soil, make a healthy plant. We don't need any pale green stressed plants out of the soil, and I don't know, when you get a picture like that, how much that hurts yield. I know it doesn't hurt it to the extent that it does when it's tasseling and whatnot, but I wonder if this stress doesn't hurt us but so much. And then later on, as that plant starts developing, then maybe we have other problems, whether it's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, maybe some other micronutrients, but other environmental conditions. I've been in this game now for 44 years, and I have to say that I don't know of another year that I remember that we had such a widespread drought over the entire country. And yes, there were areas that got rain. But I'm afraid we've got a lot of compacted soils out there right now. And if they're not out there, if we get on these soils too wet right now because we get in a hurry and have to do what we have to do we end up with our soils looking like this later on and restricting our yield?
Yeah. And does that have to do with the soil not being treated last fall? Would there be something to do with that?
Definitely. And this is an area where liquid carbon can fit in the fall, coming in and preparing that soil, letting the humic work over the wintertime, help loosen that soil for the next spring. And if they didn't get that done, and they still need to put down a burn down with their herbicides, or at least just with their herbicides, put the liquid carbon in it and let it start working now for later on this spring and summer.
Joe, we know that we're behind schedule getting this crop in the ground. USDA didn't give us any encouragement, even an update that we just got. Yeah. So a lot different. This year, there were, as you know, there were corn out of the ground in a lot of areas, 3-4 leaf stage by this time. So a lot different. What are some of the problems farmers are facing now this year due to the weather?
Well, and yes, this early spring is playing a big role in it. Soil temperatures are not warming up as fast as they want them to. And, you know, it doesn't matter what kind of weather we get. Planting is still the most critical thing that a farmer can do to get his crop or his corn crop off to a great start. And that's one of the reasons that we came out with the AgriHance S product. And that is the first step in the 3-step program of using the AgriHance S, because we get the plant off to that fast start. We get a whole lot of strength, the better root system, more energy in that plant, and then it can help deal with these stresses that it's encountering, even the cool temperatures. And, you know, we may, I hope not, hit another drought where rain shuts off. But if you could prepare that seedling up front to respond better to all those stresses, then you can get through a whole lot of things that's going to happen in this growing season.
And Mark, just a comment.
Please, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know what the exact figure was, but last year at this time, I'd say there was 80-90% of the corn planted, Joe.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And I don't know where we are now.
Well, the 5-year average is like 30% nationwide. I know that.
I'd say this year we're 3%, 4%, something like that.
Yeah, we're about 4 or 5 as we sit here looking at the 1st of May.
But, you know, let me throw this in there, too. Also, in addition with the AgriHance S program, I know many farmers don't have their planters set up to put right in the row on the seed. But it is a big help, even if they have 2x2 set up. This product will really help get that seed off.
That's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up. So, all right, Gary, we're getting off to a late start, and it'll be a challenge. It could be a challenge all season long. You know, if it doesn't get off to a great start, get that seed started. But what else should growers be aware of this season, in your view, for corn?
Well, corn or any other crop, it's kind of like Gene Hunter said, we want to eliminate all the stress that we can eliminate in there and keep energy in that plant. So we got AgriHance under it. The corn is up. It's looking good. It's growing well. I think the first thing we need to take a look at as far as a first foliar is at the V6 stage or so, which is 18, 24-inch tall corn, about knee-high. At this point in time, Mark, the growing point is above the soil surface, and our main root system, called the nodal roots, is now in place, and that's going to stay with this crop the rest of the year to take up our water and nutrients. So now we get past that stage, and let's move on up to about a V10 stage or so.
All right. Here we go, a little taller.
A little taller corn. At this point in time, that corn crop is really growing. And it's taken up a lot of water and nutrients. And we are now entering a critical stage, because if we put on an application of AgriHance V at this point in time, we're actually preparing ourselves for the next stage, which is a V12 stage. So we're a little bit taller corn. At V12, we're maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks from tasseling, Joe.
Yeah.
But Mark, at that point in time, we can't even see a tassel, but the number of kernels on that ear and the number of and the size of that ear is being determined at that very point in time.
Yeah. And then we move on to step 3 of the 3 steps, Joe. I want you to walk through that as we look at what you call Agrihance R.
Yes, yes. And this is part of that 3-step program that the farmer will need to finish out the entire program. Many times application equipment is tough to get over corn at that height.
Yeah.
There are a lot of farmers that have it now, but many farmers now incorporate aerial application. And our product goes on very easy with the aerial application because it's very low rates again. But again, we are helping to boost that development of that ear size and the kernel development and getting ready to tassel. Therefore, you're keeping the energy in that corn, and you're now, when it's at tassel time, it's starting to put all that energy into making the ears on that corn stalk, and that's where you really want to concentrate the Agrihance R to bring that energy back into that crop.
Yeah. And Mark, another point, anybody that is applying a fungicide on their corn, put it in with their fungicide.
Right.
Yeah, you both have used the word energy a lot. There's a lot to that, isn't there? To give that plant the energy it needs to get out of the ground, the energy it needs to get that growing point above the soil surface, Gary, and then the energy to get to tassel.
Finish it all out.
And finish it all out. By the way, I've been remiss. We're giving you a lot of information here tonight, viewers, and I know that you take careful notes, but they have the folks at Monty's have a great website. They've been working hard on that website to refine and have everything there they anticipate that you're going to need. And there's the web address. So we invite you to write that down, and we'll be giving it to you several more times before the end of the hour. But keep that handy, even when in fact, as the show is concluded and well past tomorrow, and say, what did they mention about that Agrihance V or Agrihance R? You can go to that website and learn all about that. In fact, let's take a look. We have a video here that we want to share with you as well, featuring agronomist Chris Weaver. He is from the mill in Maryland. I had a chance to visit this operation, and this is regarding their use of Agrihance R at the research farm.
I'm Chris Weaver of the mill. We're at the Gunpowder Game Farm test facility for the mill, where we do extensive research on various products and various up-and-coming products for certain companies. The place where we're at currently is the Monty's test field that was an old lagoon site. This farm 10 years ago was purchased by Gunpowder Game Farm. Prior to that, it's been 30 years plus where this was an operating dairy facility. The site that we're currently standing on 10 years ago was one of the holding lagoons. So this was a pond for all the holding coming out of these facilities. When it was purchased 10 years ago by Gunpowder Game Farm, they actually found fill dirt from every construction site, job site around town they could get their hands on and put it in this location. Prior to us starting our testing facility here in 2011, they could not get more than a 40 bushel yield on corn, 10, 15 bushel yield on soybeans. They just kind of had wiped this field away. They actually were just planting grass to it and mowing it because they no longer thought it was a productive field because of all the fill dirt that they brought in. With Monty's coming aboard with us at the testing facility here in 2011, they decided, let's bring this field back into production. They actually wanted the worst ground we could possibly find for them. Well, we found it. This was an old fill dirt field. Soil test and pH was off. We added lime. We did all the basics, and that's where we got testing with the Monty's carbon products to find out what we have here today. The biggest benefit to Monty's carbon is when the competitor came out with a carbon-based product and we started dumping it into tanks, all we noticed is in the bottom of the jug was all the sludge. Everything was left over. Well, my guys didn't like spraying it. My guys didn't like doing anything with it. So we kind of got away from all the competitive products. When Monty's first came to us, my guys were like, yeah, we've done this before. Dennis Stevens came to us and said, look, stir up the jug. Look, there's no sediment on the bottom of the jug. You can dump it in. I promise, no sprayer problems. To this day, we have not had a sprayer problem. We have not had any issues putting it through our rigs or anything. So that's the main reason we're moving forward with the Monty's product, let alone out here now we're seeing the yield results, and you know, the guys in the field are happy using it. The farmers are seeing the result on the other side, getting more bushels per acre. So that's where we're moving forward with the Monty's products at this time. The big advantage to running Monty's this year to us and to the farmers so far is what we've seen. This spring we applied 2 quart of carbon to every acre of wheat that we sprayed. So far in this area between Carroll and Baltimore County, the guys we were dealing with saw anywhere between 70 to 100 bushel wheat. All of it went for good wheat this year, and a lot of them are contributing it to the Monty's product for root development. We weren't seeing the wheat going down like we had in past years, which we think we were getting a stronger stem and better root mass throughout the year, which in their opinion, if they can combine wheat standing up, that makes a happier spring or summer. In our checked area, we used 150 units of nitrogen with our starter blend of a 1848. In our treated section where we ran the Monty's carbon, the only difference was we put 2 quarts of Monty's carbon in with our starter mix, came back at post-application with a glyphosate treatment, and added another quart of Monty's carbon. In 2012, on the same 2 areas, on our check we ran the exact same analysis in 2012. The only difference was in 2012 we came back, added 1.5 quarts of Monty's carbon with our starter, and a post-application did 2 quarts of carbon with a glyphosate treatment. The big difference that we're seeing is this is the corn from our treated area, and then this is the corn from our check. And as you see from there, there's tremendous difference from our checked area and our treated area.
Hold on.
Yeah, very visual there, and more data coming out of Georgia that kind of ties into that, Joe.
Right, and we had a slide that came from Blairsville, Georgia.
All right, there we go.
And this shows, again, the 3-step program, how that Monty's program can make a difference. Here's $141 net per acre advantage by using that 3-step program. So farmers are very pleased to have a tool that allows them to manage some of that growth on that corn and put that bushels in the tank.
Exactly. Gary, anything from that video that you wanted to share to kind of a reaction? I'll be watching it a lot of times, but you pick up something different every time, I think.
Well, Chris talked about corn and wheat and the fact that that had been a 30-year-old dairy.
Yeah.
And then I believe he said it was a 10-year-old lagoon.
Yeah.
Where he was standing, and the fact that when the dairy sold out, apparently construction folks came in there and dumped everything they could to fill up that lagoon. And as a result of that, when they tried to start farming it, they were getting, I think he said 40 bushels of corn off of it and 10 bushels of soybeans. So they started doing their soil testing and found out that the soils were all out of kilter.
I guess.
So they had to start putting down the nutrients, putting down the lime and whatnot, and it made a huge difference. They started putting the carbon on in 2011, and we saw the difference that it made in that 1 year as far as just the difference in the size of the ear there at the end.
Yeah.
And then he also talked about wheat for a moment and said that he had some of his producers getting 70 to 100 bushel wheat.
Yeah, right.
And it was standing, it was lodging, it was not lodging, excuse me, it was all high quality wheat, and the producers were giving credit to the Monty's liquid carbon.
How about that? We have a lot to cover. We've talked about wheat and seeing some good-looking corn there. Boy, there's a lot of people when they see that green corn that you showed us and then the harvested corn, they, well, let me get it in the ground first here.
Yeah.
But let's talk about soybeans. Obviously, we're going to be late in soybeans this year too, Joe.
Yeah, because, you know, the weather's pushing it back. We've got a picture there early that shows when you plant the beans a little too cool of soils and the kind of conditions that even exist right now. We get some rotting and stuff will happen not only with the seed but with the vegetative growth coming out of the soil. Well, about 5 years ago, Monty's introduced, we feel like we're one of the leaders in the industry, a product, this AgriHance product, to go in the row on soybean seed, which was a whole new concept for farmers back then, because most farmers usually just sowed their soybeans and wished them good luck and that was it. But now that we have the genetics that we have and we are back to managing that crop, and the AgriHance program, the 3-step program, works really, really well with soybeans. And so we have been a leader in that part of the industry, that we're the first to have done that. You want that quick emergence to get out of the ground. You see how healthy that those beans look to get a great start. And then, you know, right after that, they begin to develop the unifoliates. So they're wanting plenty of energy to get those soybeans up and through that stubble and out of whether it's this is wheat stubble. This is probably double crop beans, but early beans still need the same kind of energy.
Wow, look at
and then
that.
we start developing trifoliates. So all of this is related to photosynthesis, and we need a whole lot more photosynthesis to develop those soybean plants. And then, of course, underground, you need all this nodulation going on. And the more nodulation that we can provide with our AgriHance S product, and even stimulating it over the top with the, you know, the foliar application, AgriHance V, we're helping to produce a whole lot more of those nodules. And these are some of the benefits that they can see even on soybeans from the AgriHance S product of what it does in the soil as to getting that germination, more even stands, getting the seed out of the ground quicker, and providing a whole lot more energy in that plant, again, to withstand lots of stresses that even soybeans undergo every year.
Yeah, get that. Go ahead. Yeah, Gary.
Just going back a couple slides on showing the plants with the roots and all the nodules.
Nodules, yeah.
That particular field did have AgriHance S on it, but also had a liquid starter.
There you go.
I mean, a liquid inoculant gel.
Yeah, right.
And look at all the nodules. A soybean plant, if we can get somewhere 8 to 12 nodules per plant, we're doing good, because we ought to be able to provide most of our own nitrogen.
Right.
But look at the nodules on that.
Yeah. I don't want to count them, but they're a lot more than that. Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of products on the market today that say they can become a starter, or they can do this in the row on the seed, but not all of them have proved out to do that very well, and because of the high salt contents usually in that fertilizer. Monty's products is almost no salt, and that's one of the reasons that we're very safe to use on the seed and the row to get it going.
The data is available on the website?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Very good, and we've given you that website web address as well during the hour. Our telephone number there now, as you see, our telephone lines are going to be opening up now. We know a lot of questions, perhaps, be it corn, soybeans, wheat, whatever crop. We would love to hear from you at toll-free 877-731-6733. Again, lines open now, 877-731-6733. We have another video to share with you. This one features David Hill. He's a territory sales manager for Southern States. Very familiar with you, Gary, there, and Joe. Yes. David has seen success that Gary mentioned firsthand using the AgriHance S on soybeans. Let's hear from David.
What we like best about the Monty's product is the diversity. They've got several products for different stages of growth. There's different products for different crops. They're always coming out with new products to come to market with. There's very good representation from the Monty's people, and they are committed to agriculture, and they've been around for quite a while, so they have a lot of sustainability. We've been using Monty's for about 10 years in one form or another, and the good thing about Monty's is that it has proven itself time and again, and I feel confident when I make a recommendation to a farmer based on what crop or what stage I'm looking at, that the product that I'm recommending from Monty's will do what it's labeled to do, and they have people to stand behind that. AgriHance V helps promote the vegetative growth of that plant, whether that be leaf tissue, stems. Of course, that's also going to benefit the root growth, and it helps get the plant into a stage of growth where it's better able to produce the soybeans or the corn ear or whatever it is that it's going to be producing during the reproductive stage. AgriHance V can be applied with many herbicides and fungicides. It's completely compatible with most everything that we know of out there on the market. So a lot of times timing works out where it can be applied and you're not spending money for another trip across the field. I recommend Monty's in most any instance where I think that an application of a fertilizer type application would benefit the farmer. If we don't feel like due to certain conditions that application is right, then we don't make a recommendation for a product like that. But 99 times out of 100, that product that I recommend will be one of Monty's products. It's an ease of application, it's low use rates, and it's compatible with what they're doing over the field at other times with herbicides and fungicides. So it's pretty much an easy call to make. And most farmers out here with the price of grain today, you'd be surprised, most of them are looking for something to help push that yield up another bushel or two, and Monty's is an easy fit for that. We have always felt that the farmers got a good return on their money from Monty's products, and the farmers feel that way as well. They've used it for years. They keep coming back. They try all the new products. We've seen their basic products over the years actually add weight to tobacco. No doubt about that. We have run test plots where we've seen 6 to 8 bushel difference in soybeans on the sides of the field where it was applied versus where it wasn't. And most of the farmers realize for the small amount of money that they've got invested in the Monty's program that it will yield benefits that they can actually take to the bank.
Wow, again, great testimony there from David. Anything to add there for viewers, Joe?
Well, David's got a great testimony there. He's a good field sales guy out in the field working with the farmers and helping to provide solutions for them as well. I used to work right beside David at the location that Monty's hired me away from. But he does it right. He's out looking for the farmers' best interest, and he has found out that our Monty's products is great management tools to fit many, many situations that the farmers need.
All right, Gary, over to you. Sticking with the AgriHance program and throughout the season to be helpful to our viewers here. We got the seed off to a good start. We're off to a strong start. What's next in your view?
Well, let's think about the reproductive stage now and the vegetative growth leading up to that, but understanding we've got at one point vegetative growth and reproductive growth going on at the same time. So I think the first thing we look at is basically around R1 stage. A soybean plant can produce multiple flowers at those nodes. But here's the thing. I've heard, I guess I've read that a soybean has the yield potential of 300 bushels. I don't know, maybe it's more than that now. Well, where does that come from?
Yeah.
It comes from these flowers developing into pods that develop into seed. But a soybean plant supposedly can abort about 70% of those flowers. Now, what if we can keep more flowers on there that a soybean plant is going to normally just abort? What if we could keep, let's say, just 3 more flowers per plant, and each of those flowers develops a pod, and each of those pods develops 3 seeds in them? And we got, I don't know, 120, 130,000 stand out there. We can probably add 5 or 6 bushels just by 3 more flowers on that plant.
Yeah.
So if we go in with an AgriHance V at this R1, which is beginning flower, and then R2 is full flower, full bloom, and put on an application at that point in time, we're again reducing any stress and keeping that energy. Now let's move on up. And we get to a growth stage of an R3, R4, R5.
Like right there.
Like right there. So now we're beginning pod set and then full pod. And in this shot right here, we've got the beans set in it. So what if we just keep that energy in there and set as many as 3 beans per pod that we can? And now with some of the newer varieties today, we got some varieties out there that will set some 4 beans per plant.
Yeah. You have a trial from Kentucky, I believe, that again kind of puts it into visual context for us to understand what you're talking about here, Gary.
This was last year in Kentucky at Hodgenville, which is not too awfully far from Louisville. And overall, we were very dry in the state of Kentucky last year, but some pockets did get some rain. So we see a control here, followed by the Monty's 3-step program of S, V, and R, and a fungicide was applied with each one of those, and we ended up with a 15 bushel increase.
They're just that, like that. We were talking about wheat and corn, soybeans, Joe, other crops, though, and we kind of alluded to that also fit into this 3-step AgriHance program.
Yes, we've mentioned this even on other programs, that our product will fit on any crop, anything that the farmer's growing, whether it's canola or cotton or peanuts, pastures, tobacco, you name it, our product will work on it. This 3-step program will work on all of those particular things. And we also have one of our growers in Kentucky had excellent success using our AgriHance program on his tobacco. He had some really tough issues over the last several years, and we went in with our program of putting the carbon in the soil, putting it in his center barrel, using AgriHance S and V and R over his crop. And he came out with roughly 600 more pounds of tobacco in one of the worst years he's ever grown tobacco in.
I see
so
that.
we were very pleased, and he was too. So
very good.
It was very good.
All right, we've invited our viewers to give us a call, and Pat from Kentucky has done that, and don't want to hold on much longer. But thank you for holding, Pat. You're up first. Welcome to our program tonight, our friends from Monty's.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
My question is if I'm able to put down the starter and the reproductive, the starter and the, I've lost all train of thought. I'm not able to put down my reproductive because we don't have any way to spray it. Am I wasting my time by doing the other two steps?
If you could only do 2 out of 3 or something like that, is that what you're asking, Pat?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the call. Let's see if we can get an answer here.
Yes, you're going to get a benefit by all means. It's just part of keeping the energy in that plant, Pat, and helping to get that soybean off to the best start it can. So even doing 2 steps out of the 3-step program, you will see some benefits on your crops, by all means.
All right, again, as you see the telephone number there on the screen, 877-731-6733. You mentioned other crops here too, Joe, and let's talk a little bit about, I think we have, I'm not sure we have callers, but I know we have viewers that will be interested in something like alfalfa and forage.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of a left outside the quandary of soybeans and corn, but we have a lot of alfalfa producers, and of course, they're after quality, quantity, TDN, protein, and all of those things. And again, our AgriHance products, whether they did it from the start of the S when they seeded it, or if they come in behind their crops now every time they cut it, and they allow for vegetative growth to come back around 3 or 4 inches, they're going to get an increase in TDN, increase in protein, quality, quantity as well. And so that's what they're all looking for. And of course, that equates into their animals, their livestock, more milk, more weight gain, and all that kind of thing. And we've got some trial data here. I think it's from, I think it's out west, or no, it's up north, Kennedyville, Maryland.
In Maryland, okay.
And we showed a 10% increase even in crude protein as well as tonnage. So this made a really good fit for the farmer growing the alfalfa up there to feed his animals and get the production that he was looking for.
All right, another example, viewers, corn, soybeans, wheat, alfalfa, but peanuts, we can talk about it, and we want to talk to you. Our toll-free number, as you see, 877-731-6733. We're going to take our last break. We'll come back and hopefully talk to you with our friends from Monty's Plant Food here. RFD-TV Live continues right here on Rural America's most important network.
Take control with AgriHance. Maximize your yields with the versatility and control of AgriHance V. AgriHance V is foliar applied at the plant's vegetative state, giving your crop the specific nutrients it needs from V3 to reproduction. The unique no-burn formula and tank mix flexibility boosts performance without crop injury or making an extra pass through the field. Maximize your yields. Call, click, or talk to your dealer today and take control with AgriHance.
It was Dish Network that first launched RFD-TV over 12 years ago, and then Rural TV this past year, and it's Dish Network that continues to lead the way in providing better rural programming in the most ways to better serve its customers. Now, Dish Network introduces the new Heartland package, which combines both RFD-TV and Rural TV FamilyNet with several other family-oriented channels for the one low price of only $5 per month. Of course, RFD-TV is still available Rural as part of the Dish Top 200 package, and Rural TV Family Net also offered in the Dish 250 package, if that better fits your family needs. If you want all the great programming from Rural Media Group's networks, then switch to Dish Network and the new Heartland package today by calling 1-855-204-9841. Oh, by the way, RFD-HD is included from Dish Network in any of their packages for no additional charge.
Take control with AgriHance. Maximize your yields with the versatility and control of AgriHance R. AgriHance R is a foliar-applied nutrient management program designed to provide key nutrients during your crop's reproductive stage. AgriHance R delivers the best possible finish to your crops, enhancing the quality of your grain, fruit, and vegetables. Maximize your yields. Call, click, or talk to your dealer today and take control with AgriHance.
Welcome back to RFD-TV Live with our friends from Monty's Plant Food. Hope you've enjoyed the hour. I know there's a lot of information, and again, I want to pitch along with the telephone number you see on the screen there, our toll-free number, 877-731-6733. A few lines may still be open for you to visit with us for the time we have remaining, but also reminding you that the Monty's website has been redone, and they're very proud of it, and they should be. All the information and more that we've talked about during this hour is available on the Monty's website that you see there, montysplantfood.com. All right, to the phones we go, to Michigan. Al, thanks for holding on through that break, and now we can see if we can help you.
Yes, I'm calling after wheat. We're going to harvest our wheat, plant sorghum Sudan grass. What stage should we apply as a foliar this product?
All right.
Well, that's a good question, Al. The sorghum is going to be a very lots and lots of leaves all over this particular plant. So our product really fits real well with that. And you'll want at least about 3-4 inches, 5 inches of growth out there in the field. And you know, usually sorghum will kind of sprangle out and have more and more leaves. So this program will fit in very well. The AgriHance V product will go on there, and probably even if you take it further, you could go to the R, but if you're wanting to cut it and then, you know, grow it again, whether it's for cattle or silage or something, you can go back in with AgriHance V again after about 3 or 4 inches growth again.
Just need plain leaf surface.
Yeah, leaf surface.
And his local dealer and other rep in that area can certainly be a help, and that information will be on the website too.
And he can call our office as well.
And we'll be giving that number for you as well, the 800 number. By the way, they'll be on the operators after our program is over tonight, viewers, to take your calls if you don't get through tonight. Gary, real quick, we've only got a couple of minutes before we start to wrap things up. We talked about the AgriHance 3-step program, obviously, here tonight. There are common challenges, but there are other tools in the toolbox, is what you like to say.
Well, Monty's has over 15 products to help farmers manage their production input, cost, and help to maximize these yields. We've discussed the AgriHance S, V, and R. We also have 3 different soil conditioning products. We have an AgriSweet liquid sugar that is 34% highly refined that'll flow right through a sprayer. We've also got a very high-tech super penetrant called Nano Boost that has been designed to go down right now labeled with the glyphosate products as well as 2,4-D. And in these cool conditions, it will help to take weeds down faster and also take down bigger weeds.
Mm-hmm. And Joe, everybody's looking for something new and different I know you've got some things that you can talk about, I hope, in the pipeline.
Right. We're actually still working on about 3 new products that we have yet to come to market. And in fact, farmers can also visit our website from time to time and see these new products that we'll put up. But I'm proud to announce tonight that we have a new product. It's a dry formulation right now. It's a dry sulfur, 42% sulfur product that farmers can put on their fields. This is a combination of not only the sulfur at 42%, but we also have our dry humic product attached to that, so it's all one granule. It's just like a fertilizer granule. So they could spread it with a spreader. They can incorporate it in their fertilizers, however they can to get it on the ground, and they'll see a good difference with that.
Real quick, we have about 30 seconds. We're going to start wrapping things up, though. One caller couldn't stay on the line or just wanted to know, if I've never used your product, I enjoy the show, thank you very much. What product should I start with? How would I know where to start?
Well, we always recommend that farmers start with our liquid carbon, because that's our liquid humic. It's a product that will stimulate the soil. The soil is what produces the crop. And so we promote that all the time, to get this on their soil and start releasing nutrients to help the soil health, build the biology in the soil, and that's what it's all about. And that we would start with the liquid carbon.
And they can go to the website, and let's talk a little bit about that before we wrap things up. There's the website. There's a lot of things they're going to see on there.
We've just redesigned this website. It is a fantastic tool. We've tried to make it very user-friendly. They can find out almost anything on our website, including past RFD-TV shows.
Well, how about that?
Oh, it's pretty neat. And any of the products, they can look at trial data, side-by-side images, any kind of product information. If there's something there they can't find, they can always call our office.
And they're going to give you the telephone number. But before we do that, I want to wrap things up here. Give each of you a chance, as we did with Dennis, to share final thoughts. Gary, good to see you as always.
Thank you.
Your final thoughts.
Before I get to that, make a quick comment on Joe's there. I think we need to start paying more attention to the microbial life in our soil. Things don't just happen. Something has to stimulate that, and that's what the liquid carbon does that Joe mentioned.
Very good. Well done.
As a final thought, I've mentioned this before, but timing is everything, Mark. And Joe mentioned before, it all starts at planting time. If you don't get it done right at planting, you pay for it the entire year. And then finally, manage your stress and keep the energy up in the plant.
Well, everybody's in a hurry, and we know they're frustrated. They want to get out in the field, but they still need to do the right things at planting time. Is that what I'm hearing you say, Gary?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Good to have you here again. Good to see you. Joe?
Well, I just want to emphasize, and even Dennis did it in the first section, Monty's is always looking for products that we can develop that provide solutions for farmers. And many farmers have all kinds of challenges every year, every week or so that's out there in their crops. Our products have very good answers to meet those challenges. And I didn't show you earlier, but we now have a catalog that they can call into the office. We'd be glad to send us this new catalog that describes some of our products as well.
Very good. Well, we're going to give them that number. We're here right now. We hope that you have learned some things about some solutions tonight, the challenges that you're facing in your fields: corn, wheat, soybeans, beets, peanuts, whatever it might be. If you have additional questions, more information is available at montysplantfood.com, and that toll-free number you see there, 800-978-6342. Again, 800-978-6342. Just a reminder, Monty's great folks will be taking your telephone calls for the next hour after our show is over, and they'll be happy to answer your questions. And also, during regular business hours, keep that toll-free number handy as well. And on behalf of everyone from Monty's, we hope you have a very successful growing season. Good night from rural America's most important network.